The term often applies to fictional works of action, comedy, fantasy, and horror genres. It refers to the willingness of the audience to overlook the limitations of a medium drama. Drama is a medium of expression whereby performers express themselves artistically. The performance is based on a script which is in the form of dialogues. Like we have Shakespeare's plays, they are in the form of dialogues. Whereas a story or a novel is written in the narrative form. जैसे हमारा chapter होता है, it's in the narrative form, like an essay. Poetry is language expressed in rhythm and meter. What is rhythm and what is meter? No idea?
No, ma'am.
Rhythm and meter means when you read out the poem, it follows a certain length of the sentences. It is not haphazard. And that's why there is a symmetry. So then there is a rhythm to the poem, just like a song. Poetry is language expressed in rhythm and meter. Drama is the specific mode of fiction represented in performance. A play, opera, mime, and ballet are performed in a theater, on radio, or on television. What is drama? Drama is a composition in verse or prose. Now, verse or prose, this verse means in a poem form, in the form of a poetry. In verse or prose, to be acted on stage. So, drama is written with the writer has in the mind that this is going to be performed on the stage. It is not meant to be read, it is supposed to be performed. In which a story is related by means of dialogue and action and is represented with accompanying gesture, that is actions, costume, and scenery as it would have been in the real life. The shorter Oxford Dictionary, drama is a composition designed for performance in the theatre, in which actors take the roles of the characters, perform the indicated action, and utter the written dialogue. That is a glossary of literary terms by M.H. Abrahams. Who can read this page number 128? Shamika?
Yes, ma'am. How dramatic are you? You are, is your response when a friend exaggerates or overreacts. It means you are correctly using the adjective form of the word drama. Drama is a performance which is essentially loud, exaggerated, and larger than life. It is an audiovisual medium. The audience sitting around, in front of, close to or in the last row of the theatre should be able to hear and see the actor on stage. For example, a stage whisper is far louder than a whisper in real life. This would be an example of willing suspension of disbelief. It can be defined as a willingness to accept the unreal. It may also mean sacrifice of realism and logic for the sake of enjoyment. The term was coined by the poet and aesthetic philosopher Samuel T. Uh, Coleridge. The term often applies to fictional work of action, comedy, fantasy, and horror genres. It refers to the willingness of audience to overlook the limitations of a medium. Drama is a medium of expression whereby performers express themselves artistically. The performance is based on script, which is in the form of dialogues, whereas a story or novel is written in narrative form. Poetry is language expressed in rhyme and meter, in rhythm and meter. Drama is the specific mode of fiction represented in performance. A play, opera, mime, and ballet are performed in a theatre, on radio, or on television. What is drama? Drama is a composition in words or prose to be acted on the stage, in which a story is related by means of dialogue and action and is represented with accompanying gesture, costume, and scenery as in real life. Shorter Oxford Dictionary. Drama is composition designed for performance in the theatre, in which actors take the role of character, perform the indicated action, and utter the written dialogue. By A. Glossary of Literary Terms by M. H. Abrahams.
Very good, Shamika. Let us continue with page number 129.
Ma'am,
These are the elements of drama:
ma'am,
characterization, dialogue, the setting, the stage directions, the conflict, and the theme. These are the 7 things
hello,
that are.
ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am,
Mohit.
what is a mime?
A mime is when you are doing mimicry. That is mime.
Okay.
You know what is an opera?
Yes, ma'am.
A
Yes,
ballet?
ma'am.
Ballet.
Yes, ma'am.
Good. So these are the 7 elements of a drama. Then you have 4 closely related areas of focus. One is the scene, second is the audience, third is the character, and fourth is the actor. Then there are certain objectives. After studying this unit, you will be able to understand and identify drama as a genre of literature. You will understand this page better after we have finished pages 131, 132. Okay. Learn the definition of drama, explain the difference between drama and other forms, explain the basic elements, and understand the types of drama. Now, types of drama are 3 types. One is tragedy, one is comedy, and then one is tragic comedy. Okay. In comedy itself, we have so many times, 5 types: romantic comedy, sentimental comedy, classic comedy, comedy of humors, and comedy of manners. Now, each one of them, we don't need to get into detail. Let us go to page number 131. Because on page number 130, they have given us a whole table. You remember these 7 elements of drama that we did over here on top? Plot, characterization,
Yes.
dialogue, setting. They have explained that in detail. What is the plot of a drama? The series of events occurring in a play is your plot. It means the plan, the scheme, or the pattern that the story is following. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. That is the plot of your drama. Then the second element is the characters. What is the characters? The most important element of the drama is the characters. The protagonist. Who is the protagonist?
The main character.
The main character of the play, जिसको हम बोलते हैं hero, heroine, around whom the story revolves. The other characters are major, minor, static, dynamic, flat, and round. Then characterization. How is it different from the characters? It's a different element. It means to reveal the peculiarities of a character. For example, in movies, we have a certain character who will have that one line that he always says repeatedly. You know, in that one serial, Anupama, that Mama Ji who has come, actually he tends to forget everything. So he has this standard dialogue whenever he's talking, he says, Mane remember che, Mane remember che. So that is a peculiarity of that character. Or you may have a character who is angry all the time, or you may have a character who's very much concerned with the clothes she wears. For example, there is this uh, English episode series, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So उसमें जो उसकी daughter है, what is her name? She is always concerned about clothes and fashion. If she is feeling very bad, then her father tells her to shop. Yes, Vedant? So these are the peculiarities of the character. To gain insight into their personalities, establish connection with them, that's why these peculiarities of the character are shown. Then, of course, there is dialogue. It involves 2 speakers. There is also a monologue possible in which you speak to yourself. So In drama, when they want to show that the character is thinking something in their head, they show it in the form of a monologue. This happens a lot in the Ekta Kapoor series, wherein you will have this vamp who will stand outside the door. She will listen to what is happening inside, and then she will talk to herself. अब अगर real life में ये हो रहा होता, so when she is talking to herself, the people who are inside, they will hear her, no? But we accept it. We accept it as a part of drama because the director wants to reveal to us what the character is thinking, and that's why the person is saying it aloud. In real life, the person wouldn't have said it aloud. Oh, इसका मतलब ये ऐसा कर रही है, ठीक है, तो मैं इसके साथ ऐसा करती हूँ, थोड़ी अपना प्लान सारा बोल देगी, वो सोच रही है. So that's a monologue. Now also there is a soliloquy. Soliloquy. Characters' thought processes expressed aloud, which I have just explained to you. It reveals the nature of the character and gives us information about his relations with the other characters. Then there is a stage direction. When as an audience you go and you sit in front of the stage, even if a single character has not yet come in, seeing the stage, you know whether it is a scene outside a temple, whether it is a scene inside somebody's house, whether it is a drama that is going to take place inside the courtroom, because there is certain setting to that stage wherein you come to know where the act is taking place. Performance of the actors during the course of the development of the story, along with the use of set lighting, music, and costume. Say directions are guidelines, suggestions given by the dramatists. Then obviously for the story to be interesting to the person who is seeing it or reading it, there has to be a conflict, a problem. It is the essence of the drama. It enlightens life, grants dignity and worth to human life. तो जब हम ड्रामा देखते हैं और हम वो प्रॉब्लम को विटनेस करते हैं ऑन स्टेज, then we are able to relate it to problems in our life, and that is why we find drama interesting. Why do we go and watch a movie? To experience something. Okay, what is happening? Then of course there is a theme. The main idea or point of the play is stated as a generalization is the theme of the play. Now we are moving on to page number 131. A short history of drama. They are telling us the history of drama, how it evolved, what happened, what changes it underwent. Introduction to English theatre. Drama has its origins in folk theatre. We therefore cannot consider drama merely as a part of literature. Words are the medium of literature as an art, but drama is a multiple art using words, scenic effects, music, gesture of the actors, and the organizing talents of a producer. The dramatist must have players, a stage, and an audience. These are three essentials. इसके बगैर drama नहीं हो सकता. The beginnings of drama in England are obscure. Obscure means, what is the meaning of the word obscure?
Very less.
Not clear. Obscure means not clear. Underline the word and write the meaning. The beginning of drama in England are obscure. There is evidence to believe that when the Romans, people of Rome, were in England, they established vast amphitheaters. What is an amphitheater? No clue?
Where the drama happens.
But how is it different from the theaters as we know it? We go to the auditorium, correct? All of you have auditoriums in school
Playground.
also. Huh?
Theaters would be an open playground, your open
Open air
space.
venue.
So how is it different? Describe to me. In an auditorium, you have a stage at one end of the hall, long hall. At one end, you have the stage. Then you have a little gap. And then you have chairs. And then you have one more floor where you have chairs. That is an auditorium. What is the layout of an amphitheater?
Ma'am, it's circular.
Yes, firstly, it is circular. You're right, Shamika. What else?
Ma'am, it is like olden theaters in Rome.
हाँ, तो उसका layout मुझे explain करो.
Ma'am, it is circular in between, and there are
Correct.
Ma'am, like stadium.
Like a
yes,
stadium. Like a stadium. You have a stage in between. And then you have the audience around it. I'm looking for a picture for it to describe.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, like Lok Sabha.
That green.
like like the Roman Colosseum.
Yeah. That's an amphitheater. The Colosseum itself is an amphitheater. I'm looking for a nice picture. See whether this satisfies. See, can you see this? Is the camera focused properly?
yes, ma'am.
दिख रहा है अभी? This.
yes.
So there is a stage in between and there is audience around it. Circular way में. ठीक है? So that's an amphitheater. So they are saying that when the Romans were in England, they established vast amphitheaters for the production of plays. But when the Romans departed, their theaters departed with them. Meaning, वो building तो वहीं पर थी, but performances stopped. Then there were minstrels. People enjoyed their performances. Gradually, by the 10th century, the ritual of the plays that itself had something dramatic in it got extended into the rudiments of a play. Like a raw form of a play. Rudiments means raw form. Between the 13th and the 14th century, drama started having themes which were separated from religion. The words themselves were spoken in English. A longer dramatic script came into use and they were called as miracle plays. Put a box on miracle plays. Later, these religious dramas were the morality plays in which characters were abstract vices and virtues. These were allegories. Later, these itself became allegories. So you would have one person who's a villain. He's standing for vices, bad things. And there would be one person who is virtuous. He's standing for good deeds. That is the introduction of English theatre. Who can read these two paragraphs for the class on page number 131? Jay, can you read? Tanvi, please read.
A short history of drama. Introduction to English theatre. Drama has its origin in folk theatre. We therefore cannot consider drama merely as a part of literature. Words are the medium of literature as an art, but drama is a multiple art using words, scenic effects, music, gestures of the actors, and the organizing talents of the producer. The dramatistic must have players, a stage, and an audience. The beginnings of the drama in England are obscure. There is evidence to believe that when the Romans were in England, they established vast amphitheatres for the production of plays, but when the Romans departed, their theatres departed with them. Then there were minstrels. People enjoyed their performances. Gradually, by the 10th century, the rituals of the plays that itself had something dramatic in it got extended into the rudiments of the play. Between the 13th and the 14th century, drama started having themes which were separated from religion. The words themselves were spoken in English. A long dramatic script came into use, and they were called as miracle plays. Later, these religious dramas were the morality plays in which characters were abstract vices and virtues. These were allegories.
Very good, Tanvi. Now we are moving on to the Elizabethan and the Restoration theatre. These are periods. These are
Ma'am,
periods of time. Yes.
what
Yes,
is the
Tanvi.
meaning of minstrels?
Minstrels are plays that are performed without the use of theater and all that. Just like you have these what do you call it? These street plays, na? Like that. जिसको
Yes, yes.
English में it is called bhand. Bhands it is called. Uh, See, they are saying minstrel was an medieval European, originally any type of entertainment, music, juggling, acrobatic, all that. Getting the idea?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
कौन सी लाइन में आया है ये वर्ड? हाँ ये रहा. ठीक है. So it's not exactly drama. It's entertainment on the road. जो कि हम लोग न्यूयॉर्क वगैरह की स्ट्रीट्स पे देखते हैं ना आजकल, that type.
Yes, ma'am.
These secular morality plays have direct links with Elizabethan plays. The Renaissance imposed a learned tradition, classic in depth with themes of education, general moral problems, and secular politics. See, these chapters now, it is very important to understand them properly, because otherwise answering questions based on these chapters becomes very difficult. The plays had nothing to do with religion. There were examples of both comedy and tragedy. Thomas Kidd, Christopher Marlowe, and William Shakespeare are the prime dramatists of this era. Shakespeare also belongs to this period of time. What is the meaning of the word era? What is the meaning of the word era?
That period.
A period of time, a long period of time is an era. So who are the three very popular dramatists of this period?
Thomas
Thomas
Kidd,
Kidd, Christopher
Christopher Marlowe, and William Shakespeare.
Very good. Very good. It was Kidd who discovered how easily blank verse might be converted into a useful theatrical medium, which Shakespeare used brilliantly in all his plays. Blank verse, because till that point of time, everything was in the form of poetry. So they are again writing poetry only, but it is in blank verse, meaning it is not very poetic in its formation. So it is almost like a prose. But अगर ध्यान से देखा जाए तो even Ramayan, Mahabharata, all these epics are in poetry form. You're getting what I'm saying?
Yes.
Tragedy developed in the hands of Kidd and Marlowe. Comedy had also proceeded beyond rustic humor. But by the 90s of the 16th century, the theatre in England was fully established, but complicated conditions governed the activities of the dramatists. The public theatre of the 16th century differed in many important ways from the modern theatre. It was open to sky. We have seen it did not have a roof on top. Without artificial lighting, there was no artificial lighting. The stage was a raised platform with the recess at the back supported by pillars. So the stage was raised and then it had a curtain behind. What is a tragedy? Tragedy is a story which has a sad ending. A story which has a sad ending. कौन सा movie था वो, श्रद्धा कपूर का and all that. She also dies, her boyfriend also dies. So then that is a tragedy. If both of them would have got married, then it's a happy ending. But if the protagonist has died, if what was supposed to happen didn't happen. Titanic is a tragedy, correct? But Titanic is not a story, it's a real thing, na? But it's a tragedy.
Ma'am, what is rustic?
Rustic humor meaning not very refined humor, raw humor. So it was open to sky without artificial lighting. The stage was raised platform with a recess at the back supported by pillars. Recess meaning the background, the backdrop, the curtain behind जिसपे वो पेंट किया जाता है कि अच्छा ये एक सड़क पे बात हो रही है या किसी के घर के अंदर बात हो रही है, that backdrop. There was no curtain and the main platform was to be surrounded on 3 sides by the audience. So these days on stage we have a curtain that either closes like this or we have a curtain that drops like this, correct? So that curtain was not there. The stage was there and then there was audience on 3 sides. एक side पे तुम्हारा stage आ गया, यहाँ पर and यहाँ पर. ऐसे 3 sides पे there is audience. जैसे कि आजकल stand-up comedy में होता है. For a stand-up comedy,
Yes.
if you see Fluffy or you see Peter Russell, you have the stage and then you have audience on 3 sides. Around the theatre, there were galleries. In the 17th century, the enclosed theatre gained importance. Abhi aaj ki date mein we have enclosed theatres. We have a roof on top. It is enclosed. It's inside the building. So 17th century mein enclosed theatre became popular. There was increasing attention to scenic device as theatre became private. Now, theatre became a private business run by people to make money. So when that happened, then a lot of money was spent on creating the scenic beauty when the when the drama is being performed. यहाँ तक read करो these 2 paragraphs. Who will read? Sarvari?
Yes, ma'am. I'll start. Elizabethan and Restoration Theatre. These secular morality plays have direct links with Elizabethan plays. The Renaissance imposed a learned tradition, classical in depth with themes of education, general moral problems, and secular politics. The plays had nothing to do with religion. There were examples of both comedy and tragedy. Thomas Keed, Christopher Marlowe, and William Shakespeare are the prime dramatists of this era. It was Kidd who discovered how easily blank verse might be converted into a useful theatrical medium, which Shakespeare used brilliantly in all his plays. Tragedy developed in the hands of Kidd and Marlowe. Comedy had also proceeded beyond rustic humor. But by the 90s of the 16th century, the theatre in England was fully established, but complicated conditions governed the activities of the dramatist. The public theatre of the 16th century differed in many important ways from the modern theatre. It was open to sky, without artificial lighting. The stage was a raised platform with the recess at the back supported by pillars. There, there was no curtain, and the main platform could be surrounded on 3 sides by the audience. Around the theatre, there were galleries. In the 17th century, the enclosed theatre gained importance. There was increasing attention to scenic device as theatre became private.
Very good, Sarvari. Shakespearean era came into existence in the 16th century to the public theatre. He wrote for the contemporary theatre. What is the meaning of the word contemporary?
Present.
Present at that time. उस टाइम की पब्लिक के लिए. Manipulating the Elizabethan stage. Manipulating means
Um,
Editing.
changing.
yes, changing, but in such a subtle way that it should not become very evident. So
Hmm.
manipulating the Elizabethan stage with great resource and invention. But the genius of Shakespeare should not allow the rest of the drama of his age to be obscured. We should not focus only on Shakespeare. We have to see what the other dramatists were doing also. Contemporary to him was Ben Jonson, a classicist, a moralist, a reformer of drama. He also brought certain changes to drama. In comedy, Johnson's genius is found at its best, and his influence was considerable. The Restoration dramatists leaned strongly upon him, leaned strongly upon him. What followed after him, the style of drama that followed after him, took a lot from his style. Closing of theatre by the Puritans in 1642. In 1642, theatre was closed down by law, brought this greatest of all periods in the history of English drama to an end. With the civil wars, no theatre existed between 1642 to 1660 because war was going on. There was absolutely no theatre. The next phase, which appeared after the Restoration, produced a very different kind of dramatic literature. तो उनका जो literature था वो बहुत different था because they had just faced war. तो उनका पूरा जो mentality था वो बहुत change हो गया था. Dramatists like Chapman, Thomas Middleton, Webster, and Dekker were at the forefront. So after the war, after 1660, when drama started again, these were the most popular dramatists. When Charles II came back to the Restoration of 1660, the theatre was reopened. The Restoration comedy achieved its peculiar excellence. Drama developed into class drama with upper class ethos. Upper class ethos. What is the meaning of the word ethos? Ethos is the way you think, the thinking style. So the thinking style for this theatre was that of the upper class, because you see, after the war, you must have done in 9th and 10th standard, there was this class emergence. There was this royal class, upper class, middle class, lower class. These type of classes evolved on the basis of your financial capability. It lasted beyond this period into the first decade of the 18th century. Comedy in the early 18th century declined into sentimentalism. Sentimentalism means the drama now became very sentimental, very emotional, tugging at your emotions because they had faced war, no? It became comedy of manners. So that was comedy, but yet it was emotional comedy. जैसे चार्ली चैपलिन को अगर तुम देखो तो देखने से हंसी तो आती है, but if you notice, there is something very emotional about the whole thing. कि उसके पास जॉब नहीं है, उसके पास घर नहीं है रहने के लिए, तो वो शोरूम के अंदर ही रात भर बंद हो जाता है. तो शोरूम के अंदर बंद हो जाता है, तो then he is enjoying those things over there. He is wearing the hat, he is wearing the coat, and he is feeling so happy. So we are laughing at way he is doing, but we are feeling sad, you know. So that is comedy of manners. George Ettridge was its most important exponent, was the person who wrote best this comedy of manners. From such depths, the drama was rescued by Oliver Goldsmith and Richard Sheridan. Then Oliver and Goldsmith came along, Richard Sheridan came along, and they brought about some changes. With Sheridan, something of a brilliance of Restoration dialogue returned into comedy, but with more genial atmosphere. Then it was not very emotional. It became comedy for the sake of laughing. The characters were firmly presented with clarity, reminiscent of Johnson, but with no depth in Sheridan's world, no new interpretation of human nature. So we were not going very much into the depths of human nature. We were going and seeing the drama for the sake of laughing, for the sake of entertainment. In this, he has nearer to Oscar Wilde than to Johnson. So now what happens is, if you have read Oscar Wilde and if you have read Shakespeare, then it makes sense to you. If you've not read these things, then it doesn't make much sense to you. कि इसका style क्या है, उसका style क्या है. Anyway, now who is going to read from the last paragraph on page number 131? Shamika.
Yes, Shakespearean era came into existence in 16th century to public theatre. He wrote for contemporary theatre, manipulating the Elizabethan stage with great resource and invention. But the genius of Shakespeare should not allow the rest of drama of his age to be obscured. Contemporary to him was Ben Jonson, a classicist, a moralist, and reformer of drama. In comedy, Johnson's genius is found at its best, and his influence was considerable. The Restoration dramatists leaned strongly upon him, closing the theatres by the Puritans in 1642 brought this greatest of all periods in the history of English drama to an end. With the Civil Wars, no theatre existed between 1642 to 1660. The next phase, which appeared after the Restoration produced a very different kind of dramatic literature. Dramatists like Capeman, Thomas Middleton, Webster, and Dierker were at the forefront. When Charles II came back with Restoration in 1660, the theatres were reopened. The Restoration comedy achieved its peculiar excellence. Drama developed into class drama with upper class ethos. It lasted beyond this period into first decade of 18th century. Comedy in early 18th century declined into sentimentalism. It became comedy of manners. George Etheridge was its important exponent. From such depths, the drama was rescued by Oliver Goldsmith and Richard Sheridan. With Sheridan, something of brilliance of restoration dialogue returned into comedy, but with more genial atmosphere. The characters were firmly presented with clarity, reminiscent of Johnson, but with no depth in Sheridan's world, no new interpretation of human nature. In this, he was nearer to Oscar Wilde than to Johnson.
Very good. Let us continue. Any doubts up till now, children? Now we are moving on to modern theatre. The modern theatre, with its picture frame stage, its actresses taking female parts, because up till now the actresses were played by the males. You must have seen in Indian drama that when they show ancient things, it is the men who dress up as Sita and all that. So here also this was happening, but now in modern theatre, the females were taking the enacting the female parts. Earlier that was not the case. It's movable scenery designed to create a visual image of the locale of each scene, that is that backdrop na jo painting karte hain, so that they can show which scene it is. And its artificial light was developed during the restoration period. So you see, these are the components that distinguishes modern theatre from the Elizabethan and the restoration era. There is clear influence of France in theatre and the audience and the themes. The drama of the early 19th century was on the whole on the way to decline because of many causes. But after attaining such beautiful areas of expertise, yet drama was going to decline because of what? The theatre was home mainly to irregular spectacle, melodrama, and farce. What is farce? Farce meaning fake, not real. A simple external reason can be found in the monopoly held by two houses, Convent Garden, Drury Lane, for the performance of serious drama. So serious drama was being performed only by two companies, drama companies. The audiences which gathered to the 19th century theatre had not the intelligence or the imagination of the Elizabethan audience. The audience, the mentality had changed. They could not appreciate the Elizabethan dramatics. The danger in the 19th century theatre was that, above all, it was unrelated to the life of the time. After the war, life drastically changed. There were no more royals. There was no more aristocrats. There was no more that upper class and all. Everybody was lower middle class. Everybody was doing bad in life. So going to theater and watching all these uh, beautiful gowns and mansions and all that didn't make sense to these people who were struggling in life. The changes in the structure of the society had so modified the human personality itself that the new interpretation was essential. So it became essential that if you want to entertain this audience, you cannot be showing this Elizabethan era. It is not entertaining to them anymore. Ibsen, another writer, the great Norwegian dramatist of the 19th century, dominates the modern drama. Why? Because he was writing about reality, about what was happening at that time. He developed modernist, realist, social, and psychological dramas like The Dollhouse, Ghosts, and Enemy of the People. They are far more subtle in stagecraft. उनका जो stage का technique है, that is very subtle. The Elizabethan was very loud stagecraft. Here it is subtle because it is more real and profound in thought than anything in the modern English literature. But it was only George Bernard Shaw who was deeply influenced and affected by Ibsen's innovative contributions and experimentation. But after Ibsen, it was only and only George Bernard Shaw who continued with this technique. He was the most brilliant playwright of his times. Who is this he we are talking about? Who is this he we are talking about?
George Shaw.
George Bernard Shaw. He alone had understood the greatness of Ibsen, and he was determined that his own plays should also be a vehicle for his ideas. He wanted to continue with Ibsen's techniques. The responsibility of elevation of the English drama to the brilliance of the Norwegian fell with Oscar Wilde and G.B. Shaw in the late 19th and early 20th century. What is the meaning of the word elevation?
Raising to a higher place.
Yes. So the responsibility of taking theatre to a higher level became the responsibility of two people, Oscar Wilde and George Bernard Shaw. Okay, who can read till here? We stopped reading at, we have to start reading from modern theory. Vedant, please read it out. Vedant.
Okay. The modern theatre with its picture frame the stage, its actresses taking female parts, its movable scenery designed to create a visual image of a local of each scene, and its artificial light was developed during the Restoration period. There is a clear influence of French in theatres, the audience and the themes. The drama of the early 19th century was on the whole on the way to decline because of the many causes. The theatre was home mainly to irregular spectacles, melodrama, and farce. A simple external reason can be found in the monopoly held by two houses, Covent Garden and Drury Lane, for the performance of serious drama. The audiences which gathered to the 19th century theatre had not the intelligence or the imagination of Elizabethan audience. The danger in the 19th century theatre was that, above all, it was the unrelated to the life of the time. The changes in the structure of the society had so modified the human personality itself that a new interpretation was essential. Ibsen, the great Norwegian dramatist of 19th century, dominates the modern drama. He developed modernist, realist, social and physiological drama like The Dollhouse, Ghost and An Enemy of the People. They are far more subtle in the stagecraft and profound in the thought than anything in the modern English theatre. But it was only George Bernard Shaw who was deeply influenced and affected by the Ibsen's innovative contributions and the experimentation. He was the most brilliant playwright with his times. He alone had understood the greatness of the Ibsen, and he was determined that his own plays should also be a vehicle for ideas. The responsibility of the elevation of the English drama to the brilliance of the Norwegian fell with the Oscar Wilde and G.B. Shaw in the late 19th and early 20th century.
Very good effort, Vedant. Let us continue from there. The 20th century showed a talent in the drama with which the 19th century could not compete. The later drama was far excellent than the one that was before it. It could not compete with that. It was much better. H. Granville Baker, John Galsworthy, St. John Irwin were some of the playwrights who explored contemporary problems. Contemporary problems mean problems that were present at that time. St. John Irwin had been associated with a group of Irish dramatists whose work was normally produced in the Abbey Theatre in Dublin. Dublin is a place in England. Much that is best in the modern drama in English developed from this movement. आज तक भी जो हम English drama में देखते हैं and देखते हैं कि wow, it is very nice. It had developed at this time. One of its originators was Lady Gregory with W.B. Yeats and J.M. Synge. W.B. Yeats, you have done a lot of poems in your 5th, 7th, 8th standard. They were the most important dramatists of the Irish revival. Irish is also a part of Great Britain, who used a scene of tragic irony, a violent species of humor, and a rich and highly flavored language. So these are the three characteristics of their drama: tragic irony, violent species of humor, rich and highly flavored language. These three components were put into drama written by them. T.S. Eliot experimented with Greek tragedy in the early 40s of the 20th century. Other dramatists of the modern era, John Osborne, wrote on people who grew up after the Second World War. So people who grew up after the war. Kingsley Amis wrote about frustrated anti-establishment young people. Osborne's Look Back in Anger brought a new vitality to theatre scene. It was more a cultural phenomenon than the work of literature. It was a cultural phenomenon. The people were experiencing it. Other important playwrights of the modern era include Anton Chekhov, Bertolt Brecht, Eugene O'Neill, Arthur Miller, Tennessee Williams, Eugene Ionesco, Samuel Beckett, and Harold Pinter. You don't have to remember these names. Then we are moving on to Indian theatre. Earliest seeds of modern Indian drama can be found in the Sanskrit drama form, the 1st century AD. 1st century AD, before England, before Rome, before Greece, before everybody. 1st century AD itself से Sanskrit drama था. Mahabhasya by Patanjali provides a feasible date for the beginning of the theatre in India. So we have documentation that it started in 1st century AD. The major source of evidence is a treatise on theatre, Natya Shastra, by Bharat Muni, is the most complete work of dramatology in the ancient world. He had written a book on how to perform drama. So obviously drama उससे पहले कितना ही पहले से चल रहा होगा. It gives mythological account of the origin of theatre. Modern Indian drama, however, has influences from all over the world as well as Sanskrit and Urdu traditions. But today, if you see Indian drama, it has influence of the ancient Indian drama as well as the European drama as well as the Urdu drama. All का mixture है. Who can read up till here? You have to start reading from the second paragraph on page number 133. Niranjan?
Yes, ma'am. The 20th century showed a talent in the drama with which the 19th century could not compete. H. Granville, Barker, John Galsworthy, St. John Irwin were some of the playwrights who explored contemporary problems. St. John Irwin had been associated with a group of Irish dramatists whose work was normally produced in the Abbey Theatre in Dublin. Much that is best in the modern drama in English developed from this movement. One of its originators was Lady Gregory with W.B. Yeats and J.M. Synge. They were the most important dramatists of this Irish revival who used a sense of tragic irony, a violent species of humor, and a rich and highly flavored language. T.S. Eliot experimented with Greek tragedy in the early 40s of the 20th century. Other dramatists of the modern era, John Osborne, wrote on people who grew up after the Second World War. Kingsley Amis wrote about frustrated anti-establishment young people. Osborne's look back in anger brought a new vitality to the theatre scene. It was more a cultural phenomenon than the work of literature. Other important playwrights of the modern era included Anton Chekhov, Bertolt Brecht, Eugene O'Neill, Arthur Miller, Tennessee Williams, Eugene Ionesco, Samuel Beckett, and Harold Pinter. Indian theatre. Earliest seeds of modern Indian drama can be found in Sanskrit drama from the 1st century AD. Mahabhasya by Patanjali provides a feasible date for the beginning of theatre in India. The major source of evidence is a treatise on theatre, Natya Shastra by Bharat Muni. Is the most complete work of dramatology in the ancient world. It gives mythological account of the origin of theatre. Modern Indian drama, however, has influence from all over the world, as well as Sanskrit and Urdu traditions.
Very good, Niranjan. Now you come to page number 134. They have given you like a table. The medieval period, the Renaissance period, the Restoration period, Victorian period, modern era and post-modern era. उसमें किस टाइप का प्लेस था एंड उसके क्लासिक जो राइटर्स थे या प्लेस थे वो कौन से थे. Okay. Now page number 135 about one act play. If you have done Shakespeare, you know that there are many acts and in each act there are many scenes. But now they're talking about one act play. The act will not change. The revised course book of Standard 11 focuses on language and literature. Students should be able to enjoy, appreciate, and digest the various forms of literature. Literature provides a gateway to express emotions. This is a paradigm shift. Underline paradigm. What is the meaning of the word paradigm? Nobody? Paradigm shift means a shift in the sentimentality, a shift in what is expected. This is a paradigm shift from studying general extracts of literature to understanding a specific genre of literature. So the textbook is telling you what it is doing with you as a student. Up till now in the 10th standard, you have studied one play, one story, one poetry. Now we are explaining to you the style. You're not understanding a particular play, but you're understanding the style of the plays that are written. So there's a shift of mentality. The focus is shifting. With this intention, a one-act play as a genre, as a style, as a type, has been selected for close study to Standard 11. A one-act play is not exactly a shortened play. It is a complete story that has to be performed on the stage in a stipulated time. What is the meaning of the word stipulated?
Limited.
Limited, a fixed time. The period is fixed. It has its own features and characteristics. The action is confined to a single place. Confined means limited. The action is limited to a single place. The scene will not change. कि अभी घर के अंदर ये हो रहा था, फिर रोड के ऊपर वो हो रहा था, फिर वो लोग गार्डन गए तो ये हुआ. Not going to happen. Everything is going to happen in one fixed place. And the number of characters is also limited. Also, the number of people, the number of characters in that play is limited. Simplicity of design and quick effect are its features. किसके features है ये सब? Are its features. What is the its over
One
here?
act play.
One act play. The prescribed one act play will help the learners to understand the following features: the plot, the theme, the setting, and the language. Now, what about the plot? The plot of a one-act play is limited to a single interesting episode, one event. The plot of any piece of literature is a story that has been woven into a closely related chain of events arranged in sequence. So the events are arranged in a sequence. That is how we understand the story. Aristotle says, conflict is the soul of drama. Aristotle was a great philosopher, ancient, and he says that conflict is the soul of drama. Drama ka maza tabhi hai when there is a conflict, when there is a problem. Then the reader wants to, the audience wants to see what is going to happen. We usually have conflict in a play. Modern plays of the theatre of the absurd are an exception to it. थिएटर ऑफ द एब्सर्ड जो है वो एक अलग वन एक्ट प्ले है, but that is not about conflict. That is a different theme, different plot is followed in theater of the absurd. Now, what about the theme of one act play? A theme is a central idea around which the plot revolves. जैसे हमारे poem में भी we have the central idea of the poem. So for one act play also there is a single theme around which the play revolves. It is directly stated through the playwright's instruction. Playwright's instruction means the author of the drama, the dialogues and the other features. It focuses on the subject of the play. It can be implicit or explicit. It can be openly said or it can be indirectly implied. Explicit means it is openly declared that this is what we are talking about. Implicit means it is indirect. You have to understand it. It is not directly said. There can be a number of sub themes. उस theme के अंदर छोटे छोटे there can be sub parts that portray human life. The theme helps to convey the message of the playwright. Just like in poetry, we have a message that the poet is given. In one act play also there is a message that is given through the theme. Who can read till here, page number 135? Niranjan, you already read, no? Shamika, you also already read, no? Who has not yet read? Sharvari, you also read, no? You didn't read? Where is Tithi? Tithi, will you read for us page number 135? Aryan, Disha, Akshita, Mohit.
Yes, ma'am. About one act play. The revised first book of Standard 11 focuses on the language and literature. Students should be able to enjoy, appreciate, and digest the various forms of literature. Literature provides the gateway to express emotions. This is a paradigm shift for studying general extracts of literature to understand a specific genre of literature. With this intention, a one-act play as a genre has been selected for close study to Standard 11. A one-act play is not exactly a shortened play. It is a complete story that has to be performed on stage in stipulated time. It has its own features and characteristics. The action is confined to a single place and the number of characters is limited. Simplicity of design and quick effect are its features. The prescribed one-act play will help the learners to understand the following features. First, plot. The plot of a one-act play is limited to a single interesting episode. The plot of any piece of literature in the story that has been woven into a closely related chain of events arranged in a sequence. It is said that conflict is the soul of drama. We usually have conflict in a play, but modern plays of the theater of the absurd are an exception to it. Theme. The theme is central idea around which the plot revolves. It is directly stated through the playwright's instruction, dialogues, and the other features. It focuses on the subject of the play. It can be implicit or explicit. There can be a number of sub-themes that portray human life. The themes helps to convey the message of the play.
Okay. Now we're moving on to the setting. The setting or the location is a place where the story takes place. For example, if you have done Shakespeare ka kaun sa novel you people have done, if you have done Merchant of Venice, then it takes place in a place called Venice. That is the setting of the place. A drama is meant for stage performance. The location or setting is revealed through effective use of a variety of props. What are props? Props are things that are used during the drama. For a dance also you can have props. Like sometimes you have this 7-8 people dancing on stage and all of them have umbrellas in their hand. So what is that umbrella? That is the prop. Or all of them will have that shiny ribbon, or all of them can have that hula hoops, So what are those? Those are the props. In fact, in the dance competitions, you have one round, which is a props round. Okay, you will be given some props. kabhi kabhi to even they give chairs, sometimes they give hats. So everybody has to perform their dances with that prop in hand. So here that is the meaning of variety of props. The unity of time, place, and action has to be taken into consideration while setting the stage. Setting the stage, placing what has to be placed where. The proper use of setting or props helps the play to be impactful to the audience. Now the language. We all know that the pen is mightier than the sword. What is the meaning of this proverb? What does it mean? A pen is mightier than a sword. If I am holding a pen and you're holding a sword and we are fighting, then I will win because I have pen. Does it mean like that?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
What does it
No.
mean then? What does it mean then?
Literating has more impact than violence.
Very good. Very good. So what was happening 100 years ago? There were a lot of wars being fought. Wars were fought with the help of sword. Okay. And what did the emperor think? The emperor thought that I will win this war and I will go down, my name will go down in history as the greatest emperor. But those battles are long lost and forgotten. But even thousands and thousands of years ago, what was written is still preserved. We are still reading the books written by Patanjali. We are still following Ayurveda. What is that? That is a book written 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago. You know? So the pen is mightier than the sword. So that's why language is very important. Likewise, words are the weapons of a writer. This is a very nice line, and you can use it perhaps in your written sections, that words are the weapons of a writer. Sharvari, you want to ask something? You have raised your hand for what?
No, ma'am, by mistake.
Okay. There is another language too. Have you enjoyed films of Charlie Chaplin? What is the language in the films of Charlie Chaplin?
Nothing.
Huh?
Silence.
Silence.
Silence. Silence. No language. No words. Who uses non-verbal communication very effectively through his body, through his expressions. It conveys emotions and underlying meanings profoundly. Profoundly means
If
come again. Profoundly means
effectively,
effectively, having a lot of impact. One act play has a profound effect due to its brevity of words. What is the meaning of the word brevity? In your questions, question papers, you have this answer briefly. So the word answer is a verb over there, and briefly is an adverb. वो adverb का अगर आप noun form निकालो ना, briefly का noun form is brevity. It's brevity. So brevity of words means because there is a shortening, a compactness of words, so it becomes more effective. If the dialogues are witty, pungent, and concise, they add to the overall impact of the play. Let us discuss what is the meaning of the dialogue being witty means what?
To be smart.
Smart, intelligent. Pungent, if a dialogue is pungent means what? What do we associate with pungent? If I say the word pungent, what is that one thing that comes to your mind?
Foul smell.
No. Pungent is not foul smell. Pungent is a green chili. तीखा जिसको हम बोलते हैं ना. Sometimes we come across some person and you say कि she is like a hari mirchi. She's tikha, meaning what she says is very pungent. It touches you somewhere. It's in a nice way. It's not in a bad way. Okay, it's not like she's very foul. She's bad. She hurts everyone. Not like that. But pungent meaning karara. And then concise. Concise meaning short, not elaborate. For example, Shakespeare's Hamlet. So Hamlet is a novel, a drama written by Shakespeare. So Shakespeare's Hamlet says to be or not to be. उस स्टोरी में जो कैरेक्टर है उसका एक फेमस डायलॉग है, to be or not to be is the question, my dear friend. So he again and asks his friend कि ऐसा करना चाहिए या ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए, to be or not to be. The dialogues of the playwright use techniques like projection, articulation, phrasing for effective communication. So ये जो dialogue है, to be or not to be, it's very concise, it's very pungent, and it is witty. Now, to make the dialogues more effective, you have to have projection. They have to be targeted. There has to be articulation, means it has to be said clearly. अगर एक actor है जो dialogue बोलता है, but you can't understand what he's saying. Actor क्या है? Even if you have a teacher, if you can't understand what she's saying, then her lecture is not clear. Teachers are generally very articulate. When they talk, you can understand what they are saying. And phrasing, choice of words, phrasing for effective communication. Poetic devices and figure of speech like imagery, symbolism, personification, and humor embedded in wit, fun, irony, and paradox make the dialogues extremely powerful. Now, let us discuss each word that we have come across here. What is imagery? Imagery is a figure of speech. What is imagery? Nobody? When you read a poem and a line of the poetry is such that after reading it, you have a mental image. For example, daffodils. He says, I saw a host of golden daffodils swaying next to the lake. So you have an image. You have the image. अभी ये है कि हमको पता नहीं कि daffodils कैसा दिखता है. So if this poem was, I saw 1000 red roses next to the river. So then तुमको एक perfect image आ जाता है ना. You see a river and you see lots of red roses हवा से हिलते हुए, bushes of red roses swaying in the wind. So that is imagery. When a line is such that the listener gets an image in his head, that is imagery. Now next is symbolism. What is symbolism?
A figure of speech where an object, person, or situation is taken in another meaning than its literal meaning.
Yeah, like it stands as a symbol. Like which are the poems you had? If I tell you with respect to that, you'll understand. We've had cherry tree. So the cherry tree becomes a symbol of how one has to grow and evolve in life. So that is symbolism. Then there is personification. What is personification? I thought this will be very easy. I thought everybody will tell me what is personification.
When a non-living thing is given a human quality.
Very good. Then what is humor?
Funny.
What is humor? Humor is anything. हाँ बोलो.
Comedy or funny.
Exactly. हिंदी में इसको बोलते हैं सटीक जवाब. Absolutely correct. Anything that is funny or comic is humor. Now also embedded. Embedded means fixed into. The diamonds are embedded in the gold of a ring. They are embedded, encased inside it. So these things embedded in what? In wit. What is wit?
Smartness.
What is wit? What is wit?
Intelligence.
Huh?
Intelligence.
Niranjan, say properly.
Intelligence.
Intelligence. Then fun. What is fun?
Making something funny with
Humorous idea.
Wordplay.
Playing with words.
Playing with words. Get more specific. How a pun plays with words.
Same words having different meanings.
No. That is grammar. That is grammar. Grammatically, that is what is fun is.
Can I give an example?
Okay.
The bicycle is too tired to stand.
The bicycle is too tired, so it won't start. So too tired meaning उसके पास दो टायर है, and also too tired meaning वो बहुत थक गई है. So pun is a play with words meaning double meaning. We have lots and lots of jokes and whatever जो कि double meaning होता है, and we laugh and our younger brother will say, but इसमें इतना funny क्या था? अरे तेरे को नहीं समझेगा. So all that is fun. Okay. Then irony. What is irony?
Contradicting a pre-established idea.
No. That is not irony.
It's
Irony
a figure
is-
of speech
हाँ.
which like a sentence is said by someone, but it's actually a sarcastic one which means or relates to someone.
No. थोड़ा सा भटक रहे हो. Irony क्या होता है ना? There is a famous story, very popular story, common, which explains irony very well. There was this. The name of the story is Gift of the Magi. There was a husband and wife, newlyweds, loved each other very much, but they were quite poor. So अभी New Year आ रहा था, so they both wanted to give a gift to each other. Anniversary था, New Year था, जो भी था.
Ma'am, we
So-
had this chapter in 9th or 10th.
Yes.
हाँ.
10th standard, last
Standard.
standard.
10th or
हाँ.
10th
Yes,
standard.
Enter here to buy the gifts.
What did the boy sell? What did the husband sell
What?
to buy her a
Watch.
gift?
His watch.
Watch.
His watch. And what did he buy her?
Comb.
Combs.
And she sold her hair to buy him the strap of the watch or something like that. Because there are different versions of the story. एक में है कि he sells his guitar and buys her a hair clip, and she sells her hair to buy him the guitar string. You know, so I say there are different versions to it, but basically now this becomes an irony. फिर if you watch the serial Friends, English का जो Star
Yes.
World पे Friends में there is
Yes,
this
ma'am.
irony wherein Ross goes to England to meet her, but he is stranded outside her house in the snow and all that because she has gone to America to meet him. So remember, she calls up and he hears the answering machine, and that's how he gets to know that she is there. So that is irony. He went there to meet her, but he could not meet her because she went there to meet him. So all this type of thing is irony. Then the next one over here is paradox. What is paradox? Paradox is opposites. Two opposites coming in the same line for greater emphasis, that is paradox. These are all devices, poetic, literary devices. Now, imagery, symbolism, personification, and humor embedded in wit, fun, irony, and paradox make the dialogues extremely powerful. The tone of the dialogue can be comic, ironic, light, playful, sad, serious, sinister. What is the meaning of the word sinister? Anything that is evil, sin, इसलिए sin, पाप. So sinister. It can be solemn. What is the meaning of the word solemn?
Serious.
Serious. Somber. What is the meaning of the word somber?
Dull.
What is that, Niranjan?
Dull. Dull or
Then
dark. Dull or dark.
I'm not getting you. What are you saying? Say again. Say again. Dull or dark. Okay. Somber means anything that is dull or dark. And threatening. Threatening meaning जिससे डर लगे, etc. Dialogues can be presented. The same dialogue, if we see practice, no, how they practice to become actors and all that, they are given the same dialogue. Okay, this glass has orange dots on it. Now this has to be said in a comic manner, in a tragic manner, in a serious manner, in a क्या है, sinister manner, in a sad manner, in a playful manner. They say the same dialogue, that this glass has orange dots on it, is said in so many different ways. This is their practice to become theater actors and all that. Who will read page number 135? Last time we stopped at theme. You have to start reading from setting. Rinjo, please read.
Settings. Setting or location is a place where the story takes place. A drama is meant for stage performance. The location or setting is revealed through effective use of variety of props. The unit of time, place, and action has to be taken into consideration while setting the stage. The proper use of setting or props helps the play to be impactful. Fourth, language. We all know that the pen is mightier than the sword. Likewise, words are weapons of a writer. There is another language too. Have you enjoyed films of Charlie Chaplin, who uses non-verbal communication very effectively through his body? It conveys emotions and under underlining meaning profoundly. One act play has a profound effect due to its brevity of words. If the dialogues are witty, pungent, and concise, they add to the overall impact of the play. Example, Shakespeare's Hamlet says, "To be or not to be." The dialogue of the playwright use techniques like projection, articulation, and phrasing for effective communication. Poetic devices and figures of speech like imagery, symbolism, personification, and humor embedded with wit, pun, irony, and paradox make the dialogues extremely powerful. The tone of the dialogue can be comic, ironic, light, playful, sad, serious, sinister, solemn, somber, uh, threatening, etc.
Very good, Rinjo. So we will end the today's lecture over here. You have no homework, but I think you should read this chapter once because it's for a heavy reading है. And we will continue with this next time. Thank you, class.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Bye,
you, ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, beta.